Hello everyone, Inless here. So today we're gonna go through the patch 9.17 notes, and I kind of looked through the patch a little bit before doing this video, and I can say that this is kind of a joke patch. There's not much that is changing there because first, I think that Riot doesn't want to change too many things before Worlds and preseason and all of this. There's basically the biggest change here are kayle and Aurelion Soul. But we're gonna go through that and we're gonna comment on it a little bit. So of course there's all the scandal around the Elderwood skins. I don't know why people are so upset about it or what is the reason for them to be upset about it, but basically if you don't want to put money in it, then don't put money on it. That's it. People that want to buy it are gonna buy it, and that's all there is to say. I'm not aware of this situation to comment any further on this, but you know, you decide what you do with your money. So yeah. Alright, Aurelion Soul. Passive damage decreased, AP ratio now flat, stars are no longer disabled by CC. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee at the same time. Q cooldown now scales and movement speed increased. Stars would keep up with Aurelion Soul. W now expends stars that rotate at a decaying speed. Cooldown is increased early, decreased late. Cost no longer increase over time. Passive movement speed removed. Okay. Range and cooldown increased. Speed now scales. We're making Aurelion Soul more vulnerable to counterplay in the early game, so that we have room to buff his scaling and presence in the late game. Is the adjust W should also make him a more approachable champion to those new to him, with clearer indicators of success and more satisfying in-game payoff. So what they want to do with Aurelion Soul, I think, is a more bursty-ish mage with the bigger late game impact and a more reliable laning phase, and more roaming potential. So basically those are buffs, I believe. And I think this will be... I don't think this will make Aurelion Soul like competitively viable, but I think that they're on the good way with this champion. So the passive here, the damage is lower early, so from 20 to 16. Is down also 10 damage late game, and the scaling has been flattened, so he loses a bit of damage late game with his passive, but this is big, so you do not, like when you expand W, you don't lose the expansion when you get CC'd, so you basically you don't lose any damage even if you get CC'd. Movement speed 20. Okay, so basically if you go faster than the Q will keep up with you, and the cooldown is lower late game, so you get maybe one more Q out of a team fight. Yeah, so W is a fixed duration, 3 seconds, or lower, you can reactivate it, which will give you movement speed decaying over 1.5 seconds. The cooldown is up early, lower late. The mana cost is flattened, so there's no per second mana cost anymore, which is okay in my opinion. No longer bonus movement speed when moving in the same direction for a short period of time. Okay, so the range is increased early, as I said, so you can roam easier. The cooldown is bigger though, so you have to be careful, because like, of course you're gonna get, I'm pretty sure you're gonna take TP on Aurelion Soul, flash TP, and then like make a play bot lane or top lane and then come back to lane with TP, or you just shove in the opponent and then roam and then back, because with the movement speed you get with Q and the fact that the Q like stays with you, you can use E to go bot lane, Q, charge up your Q, and if you don't do it, like, look, speed here, okay, so the speed is up quite a bit. I'm not sure if you would want to, maybe you would want to max E second, but that would be higher elo competitive wise, and not in solo Q, because you will like the damage of the Q. But thing is, you can probably shove in the opponent, like poke him down, shove him in, and then roam bot lane with your E. If you get something out of it, fine. If you get nothing, you go back mid lane. That's all there is to it. But I don't see why they say they want to make him more powerful late game. Is scaling and presence. There's not really a damage buff anywhere. There's only the E, so, and the Q is has a shorter cooldown, but like its passive is like deals less damage late game. So whatever, we'll see. But I don't think that these changes are gonna make Aurelion Soul great. I just think they put him in the right path. Especially in competitive, where right now they have ultra scaling mid champions like Azir and etc. Galio, I mean, there's not much to say about this champion. They killed him when they removed his ability to flash taunt. Even if you buff W damage like by 90 damage, it's not going to change anything, because unless you make some sort of coordinated play with vision and stuff like that, it requires the enemy to make a mistake by face checking the bush or just walking brainlessly into you. And even that, W, as I was saying, requires the opponent to walk into you. So unless they have some sort of art engage, like Bruiser or tank that will run into you, Galio is pretty much useless right now, even though they buff him quite, like his cooldowns and damage quite considerably. It's not going to change anything. Galio is a godded champion just because of the flash W. Like 90 damage is not going to change the fact that you are not able to land the full duration, the fully charged W. There is a very few instances in games where you're going to be able to fully charge a W and land it on more than 2 people and get the 90 damage off. So this is basically a 30 damage buff. because you can ignore the fact that you charge it to maximum damage. Callista is one of those champions that you cannot very much buff her ability to be good, because it is a very, 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 very frustrating champion to deal with. And if you buff her to the extent to be good in competitive environments, then she becomes a nightmare in solo queue. And this is not something that Riot wants to happen, so they leave Callista in a state where she can be used by like the vast majority of the player that want to play her in lower elo, but not inside of higher elo games or competitive, because she has a great laning phase, but considering the meta and everything, she does not scale as well as other AD carries. She does not fit team comps as much as other AD carries, and the fact that she relies on auto-attacking people a lot to get her Ren damage, like her He damage, require extended fight, so she cannot perform if team fights are like less than 5 seconds, where everyone blows everything and people die very quickly. So Callista is buffed, okay. Are you gonna see the impact in game? Not really, because anyway Callista is has a debuff on her auto attacks because of her passive, so she deals only 90% of her attack damage on it, which means that this is a buff of 1.8 AD and not 280. This is placebo. This is not to arrange Callista. This is just to shut the complainers' mouths. Kayle. So Kayle is having a mini rework. She basically gets the Transcendence earlier, I think is what it's called. It's Zealous, Horizon, and then Transcendent. I don't know, but basically you get range at level, hold on, let me read here. A flame, okay, it's a flame at level 6, a Horizon form at level 6, and a flame form at 11. So okay, and here you get the bonus range. So basically you get a Horizon at level 6, a flame at level 11. You get bonus movement speed when you stack up your passive. All basic attacks. So she's gonna be great at split pushing, I think. She's gonna deal our bonus damage to towers and shit. Horizon attack range 525. So this is bad per se, but considering the fact that when you get Transcendent, you get 575, it's okay. It's like a trade-off. And I think that you would want to get level 11 or 16 anyway as quickly as possible, and you're not gonna fight before that because you don't have item, you don't have range, you don't have the bonus damage that you want to have to fight people, so you're just gonna farm anyway. So yeah, remove the bonus attack speed, remove the true damage when you get Transcendent, You get bonus range. Okay. Refounds 50% of the ability's mana cost for each champion hit with it. So basically, if you hit 2 champion, your Q costs no mana, which is like, it's useful in the late game, but late game you don't have any mana cost issues. You probably will have only mana issues early game. It's good if you land Q on your lane opponent to arrest them. It's gonna cost less mana, which is okay, but I don't think it's gonna fix your mana issues. So you most likely will start either Corrupting Pot or get a Doran Ring and then a Dark Seal and then Corrupting Pot, but I definitely think that you need Corrupting on Kayle early game, or you just shoot yourself in the foot or whatever. Cast delay is shorter. Cast time is fixed. Oh, okay. Cast time is quite interesting. So basically, when you press Q, there's a 0.5 seconds delay on when you press Q, between when you press Q and when you deal the damage. The missile is also slower, the range is shorter, so it becomes a more skilled ability. It shreds for longer, less but for longer, so I guess it's not really, I don't know why they make these kind of changes. It doesn't change anything, except the fact that if you reduce for 15, but you reduce for 4 seconds, so you get like 1 or 2 auto attacks more, and the 5% that you're missing is gonna be made up by the auto attack that you get in the extra second duration. Okay, this is useless. Bonus magic damage 8 to 12% plus 1 per 50 ability power of the target's missing out. So this is a buff to AP Kayle, because you will, if you build AP caster kind of thing, I don't know why you would do that, but if you do, you're gonna deal more missing health, I guess. But if you can't get them low, then it's useless. So in my opinion, this does not really change anything for Kayle, except that you will do less damage if you don't build AP, which doesn't make sense because, okay, so bear with me here. What I mean by this doesn't make sense is that Kayle is supposed to be an ultra scaling champion. You want Kayle to farm, you want Kayle to scale, you want Kayle to get items, and then she starts to deal insane amount of damage. But by removing 4% of the missing out at level 5E and augmenting the ratio of the stat that you do not necessarily build, you'd make her late game a bit more inefficient, considering that you also lose the bonus true damage, so you will deal less damage late game. The on it ratio has been buffed a little bit by the AP again, so yeah, basically your E deals less damage late game unless you build AP. This is actually okay. As I was saying, late game you don't have a mana issue with Kayle, you just auto attack, sorry. They buffed the radius of the damage, I guess, which is like, it's a neat little thing, but it's not gonna impact. Like, it's not a buff of 200 unit range, it's a buff of 25 unit range, which is it's just probably what happened there is that in the code the AoE was 500, and the visuals were only 475, so they adjusted the visuals with the code and then made it 500 because it was simpler to fix the visuals, to scale up the VFX and the animation, than to fix the code. So this is it. Q cooldown decreased by 1 second. It's fine. It does allow you to go for extended trades a little bit more, considering that you do not max Q, so usually you max W on Leona, unless I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I'm a coach, by the way. Thank you, LS, for that. Yeah, so you don't go for Q max, so, and you don't get anything except damage from the Q max, so this is just a little thing to help Leona take extended trades and maybe snowball the lane. But 1 second is pre-level 5. 1 second is probably, like, if you take an extended trade or two, it's probably like 1 more Q, and it deals 10 damage level 1, so it's 10 more damage in the laning phase pre 6, which is not really anything, but it's still a thing. It's true that you okay, yeah, you get the passive damage too 1 more time, which means that it's maybe 50 HP worth of damage in the laning phase pre 5. Yeah, so this is okay. This is not like a big buff, but it is okay. Basically increased 380. So hear me out here. The issue with Lucian is that he has good base damage, he has good ability to kite and to engage and to fulfill his role as a kind of a bully mid-game AD carry. But the issue is that his items cost so much gold that even if you're 3 kills ahead, you're gonna end up toes to toes with the other AD carry and might lose 1v1 or 2v2 situations because you lack items. Even if you're ahead, you don't get me wrong, building AD on Lucian is more effective in his kit than on most of other AD carries, because his Q scales with bonus AD and his passive gives you double auto attacks. But I don't think that 3 AD is gonna make Lucian magically come back into the meta, because he has other issues, as I said, with items that cost so much gold. He has a really short range. He has the obligation to commit to trades in a shorter range than other ADCs, so he takes more damage from the minions if you trade into minions, and he will necessarily take more damage from the other AD carry, because when you trade, you go and you auto attack, right? And then when you want to end the trade, you have to walk out of the enemy's range. But let's say you're facing a Caitlyn. By the time you walk out of her auto attack range, you're probably gonna get hit once or twice, like once or twice more than you should have been hit if you were playing, let's say, Ashe or Vayne. So a winning trade becomes an even trade instantly just because you're missing the range. And you have to commit further, so you're more exposed to ganks. You're more exposed to, let's say they have a Braum. You're more exposed to Braum jumping on a minion and then auto-attacking you to death because you had to commit. So you have to be smart if you play Lucian and take trades that are 100% not trade back. So let's say they want to farm under the tower, you go for a little trade and E out, that's fine. But you cannot play Lucian viably in competitive. I don't think so. Even though it's being picked in a LCS. Let me check here. Hold up. I'm not sure. Actually, in a LCS pick and hello, load please. Okay, fuck you. This is not what I want. Analysis bang rates to K19. Thank you, champions. Week 2, week 3. I want to see if Lucian has been picked. I don't think so. Yeah, so Kaisa, Ezreal, Severe, Ezreal. Oh, Lucian. Here we are. 100 Thieves versus CLG. And guess what? Oops. Guess what? 100 Thieves won. Why? Because Lucian probably got outscaled pretty hard and he couldn't go in and trade efficiently and push his lead if he had one. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Lucian. You can agree or disagree. I don't mind. We can argue in the comment section if you want. Nico, hi, I'm beautiful. Blah 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 blah. This is bullshit. She didn't need that. Q thrust now grants a Q damage. E monster damage reduction removed. Okay, so this is insane for Pantheon in lane. This means nothing for Pantheon jungle. You're running Talisman anyway on Pantheon jungle. In my opinion, you have good AoE camp clear, so you can do raptors, you can do wolves pretty good, you can do golems, I forgot the name, Krogs, pretty good as well. So I don't think that E damage reduction is going to impact him that much. If anything, he's going to miss a little bit of health when ganking. And the Q thing is good. But it's okay, it's good. It's gonna allow what the fuck was that pronunciation? It's gonna allow Pantheon to go for more ballsy plays and punish people that overextend the lane and overcome it to farm and blah blah blah. Nerfs to Kiana. I don't think that Kiana needed nerfs. I'm gonna be honest. With the state of mid lane currently, especially in competitive, I think that having a reliable AD assassin was shaking up the mid lane a little bit enough. And her getting 10 damage off her E and then a flatten R cooldown means that she will be a little bit less reliable. She's still good. She's still pretty good, I think. Of course, it's an assassin, so she falls off late game. But it's the case with every assassin, in my opinion. Except maybe Kazakhs in solo queue, not in competitive. Yeah, so maybe they made these changes to make the solo queue player stop complaining about her. I'm pretty sure that this nerf here is what is gonna cost Kiana her place in the mid lane in competitive, if anything. But in solo queue, it's not really impactful that much, because good Kianas are gonna snowball the game and beat your ass up anyways without her ultimate. Rise base magic damage increase, magic resist, yeah, increase. More survivability in the mid lane, I guess, because top lane are ADs most of the time. That's okay. I think the Rise rework kind of made him a less reliable champion, but his kit is still the same, so except the shield. He's doing the same job, he's just less reliable to do it. And some base stat changes like this will make a small difference in the early game, but Rise is a late game champion anyway, so yeah, it's fine. Zara, her cost flattened, cooldown decreased. So she gets her 20-second of her ultimate, and she gets less mana cost. I've always thought of Zyra as the kind of champion that is only a specific answer to certain meta, and she does not really perform well under any circumstances. So those buffs are definitely gonna make her good in the as of the meta breaker that she is. So like there's a meta coming out with like MF support and blah blah blah, and she's picked, and she's gonna be more powerful when she's picked, but she's never picked because she lacks the ability to tank up damage and to engage. Zara is the kind of champion that you will use when you need to disengage really hard. Her he is too slow to catch people. It's not a Nico he, it's just a Zyra he. Just sidestep it. It's pretty easy. The skill shot is longer, of course, but it's not really good, in my opinion. Her ultimate requires people to be brain dead and stand in it to get the knockup out. The damage is quite something. The buff to her plants is something, but if you just walk out of it, wait for the plants to run out and then engage, then you're fine. Zara is useless. She just has an E now, which is super slow and deals almost no damage. And roots for less time than Nico's E. So why would you play Zara when you can play Nico? Is the point here. Free to play, champion rotation, blah blah blah, we don't care. Bug fixes, it's alright. Are the Elderwood, Harry, Vigar, and Nocturne. Infernal skins, chromos, and a disgust button because I'm disgusted by the patch, which is a joke emo. Moncast. Yeah. Those kinds of patches are just placeholder patches before preseason, so they're not changing anything big. They're not like over buffing champion. They're playing it safe and putting some mini reworks out there, but it's not gonna change the meta. I don't think so, as of, except maybe in the mid lane, Kiana is not gonna be picked anymore, because people would go, oh my god, her ultimate has such a long cooldown late game, let me not pick her anymore. You don't pick Kiana only for her or her ultimate, by the way. And the Kayle changes are okay-ish. She's gonna be more powerful mid-game. She's not gonna be more powerful, she's gonna be less useless mid-game. It's not gonna be 4v5 as much anymore. Aurelion Soul changes are okay. They're going in the right direction in my opinion, but they're most likely trying stuff out and like taking the pulse in the community just to see if those kind of changes are the kind of changes that player want, and if they can go in that direction with other champions during the preseason. Yeah, and same thing with Kayle in my opinion. They are trying out stuff, taking the pulse, and then reacting, adjusting the changes for the preseason. Yeah, it's a really small patch, so I guess we can talk about Pantheon rework a bit. I know it's 9.17, and he's been out for a while now, so people know him a little bit more. They know what to do on him, they know how to play against him a little bit. And I'm saying a little bit because there's still nuances and small little glimpy things that players don't know yet about Pantheon. When you play Pantheon jungle, you want to play with Electrocute. Don't play. I've seen a lot of Pantheon jungles going like Conqueror and stuff like that. This is not your role as Pantheon. You don't want to scale as Pantheon. You want to roll up the early game, and you want to put your laners ahead, have objective control, and then end the game as quickly as possible. Pantheon still has this identity of a game roller. Like, he just takes the game in his hands gets ahead, and then hands the game in your face before you can do anything. So yeah, you want to take electrocute, you want to gank, deal damage, and then put your laners ahead. You're not gonna do any damage if you take Conqueror. In the jungle, like right now, I'm speaking specifically in the jungle. You want to gank with your W, empowered W. You want to proc electrocute. You want to auto attack him once or twice if you can. If he's melee, if his range, he's most likely gonna flash out. You want to use your E to get your, because if you empower W, you get 3 stacks right away. You auto attack him once more, you E, you reactivate E, and then you have your empowered Q that you didn't use yet. And that's like, if he's a melee champion, is most likely dead because your laner reacted, he damaged him, and now you have empowered Q and you can snipe him. He doesn't have flash. Don't miss your spear, by the way. So yeah, and now your laner's ahead. You help him push. If he wants to set up a freeze, you tell him he's an idiot, and you push. Yeah, so you wanna do that repetitively. You wanna gank, like you start up at blue, get a leash, get wolves, get red, get scuttle maybe, or not, then gank mid or top if you're playing blue side. If you're playing red side, you want to start red, you want to go Krogs, and then you want to go wolves, and then you can go blue, and then you gank mid or top. You're gonna be delayed on one camp. You're gonna be late on the other jungler if the jungler is an early ganker, but that's all right because you can track him down. Like, you can ward up, you can kind of spot where he is, read him, and then counter gank with an XP advantage, which will lead, if you kill him or the laner, then you can pressure his jungle and then set him behind. Even though, like, don't get me wrong, taking camps right now in the jungle, stealing camps from the enemy jungler is not gonna do much to the enemy jungler because of rubber banding XP and the way that the jungle works right now. Counter jungling is not really effective, but in solo queue, junglers will tilt. They will tell their team to help them. They will say, oh my god, I'm so behind, I cannot gank anyone, and then you're Pantheon, you just want to gank. So you get free ganks without answers because the other jungler thinks he's behind. Don't do that high elo, by the way, because high elo jungler know that one camp is not gonna matter. But yeah, lower elo, you can do that. You can delay, like you can take one more camp before ganking, because usually in lower elo, when a jungler ganks, he tends to overextend the gank. So he's gonna gank, he's gonna kind of work out, he's gonna get a flash or whatever, and he's gonna stay there. He's gonna fucking push the lane, or he's gonna like hang around in the bushes trying to re-gank. And then you can punish him and get ahead and make him tilt and gank repetitively as Pantheon. So yeah, you take electrocute, please, and just kill them and snowball the game. Now, Pantheon in lane is something different. Pantheon in lane, you want to take Conqueror. because you can spam Q, and by the time you get your Q back, usually Conqueror isn't even stacked off. Like, the stacks are still there when you get your Q back up. So you can spam Q 1, 2, 3 times onto the enemy, and then you engage him with Emperor W, let's say, and then you get Conqueror like almost instantly, and then you can trade, and you can like extend the trade. Of course, better player will not allow you to stack up Conqueror that easily. They're gonna stand behind, wait for it to go down, and then maybe go for a trade with you. But yeah, your role is to poke people down with Q and then just kill them. Especially now that the Trust has the bonus physical damage. You can really bully people out of lane. I'm pretty sure that now Pantheon doesn't lose into Darius, and he does not lose into Fiora, and he does not lose into Olaf even. I'm pretty sure, just because of this change, which makes him a really good top laner as an answer to most of the meta top laner right now. And Pantheon is also a good pick into ranged champions. Now, why? Because you can stack up your Q or your empowered ability, and then you can jump on them, take a trade, and then walk backward with your E up. So they cannot, like, if you're melee and you take a trade with a ranged champion, you will most likely lose the trade if you don't have any kind of sustain. Because when you walk out, as I was saying with Lucian earlier, when you walk out of the trade, they still have time to auto attack you. So you will go even in the trade, or you will lose the trade. But with Pantheon's He, even though it's a really long cooldown, I think it's 22 or 25 seconds early game, you can go for some cheesy trades and then get your empowered ability and then get level 2, get level like 4 or 5, and just like one-shot them basically because of this. And the fact that if you poked them down with Q a little bit, then you have Conqueror very easily. So yeah, Pantheon will be a good answer to a lot of champions, I think. Even though his late game isn't that great, his ultimate is good for roaming. Like, I've played Pantheon a bit with TP. So you're gonna say I'm troll here, okay? You're gonna say I'm troll, but let me see if I can runes. So this is the page I will be running with Pantheon. I would run Cheap Shot and then Ultimate Hunter. This, and then depending on the matchup, you would take either Armor or Magic Resist. So what happens here is that you get so much cooldown on your ultimate that it's always up. And when I'm saying always, it's always up. Like, you don't even have to think about it. Post level 11, you always have your ultimate. If you participate in 1 or 2 fights, ult mid lane or ult back top lane, and then you TP in a fight and then get 1 or 2 kills or assists, you can just ult back mid lane or ult back top lane. It's that easy. and especially in this meta that forces you into buying CDR very early, this ultimate is really, really, really good. And even though you lose some of the gold and triumph thing here, presence of mind helps you being present on the map. Puns intended. But yeah, last stand or coup de grace, you choose. I preferably use last stand because I don't know, I like clutch situations, and this is good for clutching situations. Oh, hello. All right, give me 2 sec. So yeah, this is my thoughts about Pantheon. I'm not going to save that. Home, patch notes. Yeah, so I think Pantheon is a good champion, and I do not think he is busted. I think that if you play against Pantheon, what are you? Okay, whatever. Fuck off. Yeah. So I think that if you play against Pantheon, you have to assume that he has his E up, and that he's gonna block a lot of your damage if you do not wait for him to use it. Yeah, his E is definitely a good ability, and especially for jungling. So like you can dive easily with this ability if you use it correctly. But yeah, this resumes my thoughts on Pantheon. He's a good champion for solo queue. He can snowball the early game. He can roll up the game very easily. But please do not play him Conqueror in the jungle. That's not how you want to play Pantheon. Aside from that, I think that makes patch 9.17, aka the joke patch. This is a wrap, and I'm gonna wish you guys a nice day, and we're gonna talk again for 9.18. Yeah, I'm drunk. Yeah, so we're gonna talk again on the next patch, and until then, I wish you the best of luck in rankeds, and I wish you the best of luck in life and all projects. So thank you for hanging around, and I'll see you next time.